Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Sunday the 23rd of February 2020. I'm using the Deviant Moon Tarot for today's reading, and this is a really unusual deck. I've only used it once. So let's have a look at what the cards want you to be aware of for today. The Two of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles. Interesting. These cards are very dramatic. I did a personal reading for myself, and I used these earlier, and some of the answers I got with the images being so shocking, like the Ace of Pentacles usually is a very positive card. It's a gift from the universe. And here you look at this and yes, it's still a gift into the universe, but I mean, it doesn't look that welcoming, does it? So if you're reading for yourself and you really want the tarot to give you an answer and you're sensitive to negative answers, then this is not the deck to use because it's going to be like, oh, this is quite tough. You see? Whereas if you use the Rider-Waite deck, the same answer will be delivered in a different way. That's why different tarot decks are good. The Two of Pentacles, we've got this amazing dancer here, and belly dancer, and she's shaking it and she's using these two as decorative items in her dance routine, and she's on top of it. She's working, she's invited to the palace to do her bit. The moon is above her, so she feels that this is actually something she ought to do. We've got this red skull here, so it's everything dark. It's passion and death. It's like Scorpio and Pluto. She's the belly dancer, but she's also the psychic and the person who can tell you your future. So there's a sense of the unusual or the exotic or the dangerous associated with the mundane, with the everydayness of life. And you may also be more emotionally tuned in than you usually are, and that may surprise you. The next deck, the Page of Swords. I adore his shoes. They are the cutest, and those little socks. Oh, the Page of Swords is a court card. He's a young man who's learning his way around. He's learning how to master the element of swords. So here he's got this built-in machine thing which helps him look forward through this sword, and the sword splits the light and he has one perspective, two perspectives, three perspectives. So the Page of Swords is learning that there isn't just one answer in life. The moon is much more distanced out here, so the feelings aren't as important as, in this case, the feelings aren't valued as much as this card values them. So you have a lot of emotion in your life. And when it comes to thinking, you're just working out which perspective is right. The page is the most inexperienced of all the court cards. He's also in the palace, so he's made it somewhere. But then he graduates to the knight, and then eventually to the King of Swords. So these are very, elated, exalted, positions. So you can't just proceed without learning anything. And swords has to do with thinking. It has to do with ideas. It has to do with managing your feelings and your passions and being diplomatic and saying what needs to be done instead of flipping out. And it's mastering, the passion and the will versus the law or what needs to be done or what is socially acceptable. Finally, the Ace of Pentacles, and I need to try and analyze this and see why they've put a dragon here. So the Ace of Pentacles is a gift from the universe. It's a doorway card. So Pentacles rules money and the earth and your, not your financial services, your financial situation. And usually it's portrayed with one point up like this, and then it means spirit over all the elements, and it means that you're a spiritual being and that you can just float off into space or remember that who you really are, and you can bring that back down to planet Earth, and you're able to manifest your own dragon. Okay? In this deck, they're doing it the other way around. They're saying that the Ace of Pentacles worries you about finances and your financial situation so much, it's scary, that it's not a real blessing, and you let things get on top of you. You can become overwhelmed about all of the things you have to do. Maybe you have to look after the kids, and you have to do the finances for the family, and you actually have to work. You have to get the sitter, then you have to transport everyone. And if it just becomes too much, you kind of get paralyzed emotionally and you can't do anything. It gets to the point where you say, okay, yes, I'll do that. And something has to give. And at some point, things just fall apart and then you can't do any of the schedule. And that's no good if you're trying to be consistent. So it's important to maintain the way you look at money and the way you look at finances, and you look at them in a way that's not catastrophizing, overly dramatic, overly emotional, and saying, oh, look at the doom in my finances here that's coming up. So that's not the way to look at money ever. Because if you feel like, oh, this doom hanging over me, then you just make it bigger and you just feel like you can't do anything. So altogether, we've got the everyday mundane energy of money, okay? That's not mundane today. It's you're this magical belly dancer, and you can create real passion and make magic out of nothing by using your feelings and your skills and your passion. Then the financial side of your life feels scary, okay? You're a little bit intimidated by all of these things that you have to pay, all of the things you have to deal with, all of the commitments you've made and that you have to pay. The moon is very far away there and small, but it's brighter, and it's the fear that this dragon brings into you. But Pentacles are extraordinary here, and they're being guarded by a dragon. If you slip through and get into this cosmos and you remember that you're a spiritual being, and you're the one who's manifested the dragon, you're the one who's manifested the circumstances as they are now, you're able to go back to that inner place anytime. You're able to decide again, and then you can make different decisions which will make your circumstances look differently. So you can maybe, instead of a scary dragon, you can turn him into a little yellow butterfly that brings you happiness and joy. But you have that chance to go back and to redecide any time you want. However, today you've got her on your side, and you've got the magical ability to really get creative and to bring some passion and some magic and some exoticism and some uniqueness into yourself, into your body, into your mind, into your spiritual body, and you choose and you decide what it is you want to do in life, rather than the things that are in life that seem to be controlling you, and it seems like the ceiling is going to fall in on you. Draw a line under all of that for a second and say, hang on, how can I put myself into this situation so that I'm actually happy with it and that I can actually thrive as well? And I'm not putting everyone else first, but I think of myself too. And that is where the Page of Swords comes in the middle. You're learning that you have value and that you're an amazing person, whether you're under financial stress or whether you are a financial genius who just snaps their fingers and money just comes pouring out. The really important thing I feel about this day is you're learning new ways of taking care of yourself. You're learning new tools and strategies to move forward when things seem hopeless and dreadful and pitch black, and you can never compete with those circumstances. When they feel hopeless, you realize that you've got this inner magic which helps you to take steps which don't really make any sense. You start to become aware of the presence of grace in your life and how you've had these amazing moments that have elevated you in your living situation in terms of money, in terms of overcoming fears. You've grown as you've got older and as you've experienced life. And today, it's interesting that we've got 3 moons here, because today is the new moon in Pisces. And the new moon in Pisces is when the moon is black and it pulls in new energy. So it's interesting that we have this all about the moon. It works with the moon as such, and it creates feelings which aren't reasonable. It's so dark that the shadows seem to be things that they're not. You know, if you go to a forest during the day, it seems lovely and happy and everything. If you go to that same forest at night, it's like a horror show. It's like a ghost town, and every noise is a snake, you know? So because things are so dark, you see things very differently. Trust in yourself and what you care about and your passions, and make it happen for yourself. Continue moving forward by listening to your own inner compass, your own inner guidance system. Be willing to learn and be willing to see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So today, if you try and calm yourself down by doing a certain type of meditation and it irritates you even more and you just start kicking the wall, then that hasn't worked for you, okay? If you look at it another way and you're like, oh, my schedule is just so heavy, I won't be able to live it in real life. I can't do this. So today I'm going to look at the actual schedule. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to remove people who don't exactly, I don't know, like if you're a psychiatrist, I'm going to move the people who aren't in imminent danger, and I'm going to move the people who are in imminent danger here, and I'm going to put them all in one day instead of spreading them out over 3, so that I can do all the work instantly because I have more energy, because I've managed my schedule better, for example, okay? So you're able to really overcome a huge fear, and probably a huge fear about money, by realizing that money is always going to be there. You're always going to have money. You're always going to handle money because you have a talent. You've got this special gift inside of yourself. And today you realize who you are. You realize how special you are, that you don't need to worry all the time, that grace does play a role in your life, that you are supported. You have been given talents and skills that you can use. It's just about becoming aware of that. And you don't know yourself the way you knew yourself at 20 and 30 and 40. There are layers and layers and layers, and you don't know what resources you've got within until you try it. You don't know if you can be a belly dancer unless you're in that culture where they have belly dancing, and you happen to, you know, your mom gets you to try it out and you have a talent. I mean, in Sweden, if you grow up in Sweden and you want to be a belly dancer, I think it's much harder to find your path. You see, so try everything, look at yourself and say, okay, it seems unlikely, it seems like this dream within, but I can actually see it happening, and I have the energy and the magic to kind of swing things so that my routine includes something that actually puts me on the path of realizing my hopes and dreams rather than living in fear. Number-wise, we've got 2 and 1 and 1. That's 4. 4 is about stability and security and structure. It's very much an inward-looking day. It's a Sunday as well. Most people don't work on a Sunday, but because it feels dark, it feels a little bit uncomfortable, but you also feel your own magical inner presence, that there's this inner cauldron, it's kind of bubbling and it's swirling, and out of that you see 3 different ways of moving forward. And if you are brave enough, you can see 3 different things within yourself that you haven't given yourself credit for, or that you haven't used to bring value into your life, or that you haven't really made the proper use of. Or by proper, I mean you haven't used it in a way that really blesses you the way it's supposed to bless you. So by looking within today and realizing the treasures that lie within you, rather than being intimidated by what's happening in the world right now, you're able to create circumstances that are totally different in future, and you're able to take back control today. You don't just have to live in fear and react to what is. Have a wonderful day. If you would like a personal reading with me, if you're at a crossroads in your life right now and you have any questions, if you want to find out what your life purpose is or your vocational aptitudes, if you have questions about money and health and love, then get in touch with me for a personal reading, please, on the website. It's gregoryscott.com. Audio reading with me there. Please hit the subscribe button if you like this video and share it online. Have an amazing Sunday. Check out the video for the new moon as well. I'll put a link in this video for it. And I'll speak to you tomorrow.